welcome back. Today we are making some bread. I am making a seeded rye bread today, and it's gonna be so good with the corned beef that I have in the crock pot. And let me tell you, I don't do anything to my corned beef. I literally throw it in the crock pot and there you go. So this is a super easy meal, so I figured I would take the time to make some homemade rye bread to go with it. So in here I have a half a cup of warm water. You do not want it hot because you will kill your yeast. The second thing I am adding is 2 tablespoons of yeast. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're also going to add 2 teaspoons of honey. And this is going to be to feed our yeast. And I'm just eyeballing, so there's 1 and 2. And then I'll just whisk this together super fast. Just made my kitty mad. I accidentally stepped on him. Not used to having him in the house. Usually he's outside. Okay. So now I'm just gonna let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes until I see it start foaming and it gets real fragrant. That's how you know your yeast is good. You will see me do this every time I make bread with yeast. I always make sure my yeast is good before putting anything else in there, because if it's not, then you're gonna have to start over with your yeast. So 5 to 10 minutes and I'll bring you back. Alright, so you can see that the dough is, or not the dough, the yeast is well, you can't tell it's fragrant, but you can see it puffed up. There we go. You can see it puffed up. And that's how you know that your yeast is still good. So, I am going, maybe, to put on my dough hook, and then we are going to add 1 3/4 cups of water. 1, there's a half, there's a quarter. We are adding 3 tablespoons of honey, 3 more tablespoons. So 1, 2, 3. Well, here, give me your spoon. My girls are used to taking honey when they're coughing. Okay. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of caraway seed. Now, if you do not like that much caraway, then make it 1. Or you can omit the seed altogether. I just like seeded rye bread. So I am adding 2 tablespoons of that. And then, last but not least, we need 4 teaspoons of salt. 2, 3, and 4. Now we're, and melted butter. And then you also need 4 teaspoons of melted butter, and that's what I was trying to do, was melt my butter. It's mostly melted. Good enough for me. 4 tablespoons of that. Now if you melt it down better than me, make sure that it's not too hot. Now, put this on low just to get everything stirred together, and then we'll start adding in our flour. Okay, so now to this, we're going to alternate and add in 4 cups of regular flour and 2.5 cups of rye flour. So I already have my 4 cups of regular flour measured out. I'm going to put a little in there and just start doing this on low until everything is incorporated. And then what we're wanting is for the dough to just start pulling away. And then at that point you can either knead it by hand for about 5 minutes or let your dough hook do it for 5 minutes. Okay, so I lightly greased my bowl, and I put this in a bowl. It's still tacky, which is what you want. It's smooth, but it's tacky. Now this is gonna go into a warm place for about an hour until it has doubled in size. I'm just gonna cover it up and let it sit. And I will bring you back whenever we're ready to put this in our 4 little loaf pans, because I don't have a big loaf pan. Alright, so first off, I have 2 of my loaf pans. I misspoke. In the beginning, I was planning on making a double batch, but I decided not to. So I do not need 4 loaf pans. I only need 2. But these are my 4x8, 4.5 by 8.5. I don't know what they are. They're my bigger of my loaf pans, but I have them greased down with some butter. If I had cornmeal, I usually sprinkle some cornmeal down, but I am out, so I will not be doing that. All it really does is help it to where it really doesn't stick to the bottom at all. But anyway, bring it over here. There's that corned beef, but here's the main event for this video. So this has doubled in size, and it looks and smells beautiful. Thank you, baby. You want it back? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna punch down our dough, divide it in half. I don't know why, but I love doing that. We'll divide it in half, and then we're gonna kind of make a square out of it and roll it up that way. So, that's good. Hold on, baby doll. All right. A little more out of this one. There's no precise way to do this. Okay, so flour your surface a little bit. Oh, that's a lot. I don't need that much. Barely flour. Just so that it doesn't stick. And then you can use a rolling pin if you want to use a rolling pin. I'm not that precise about it. As long as I can get it worked into the shape that I'm wanting. Because here's my loaf pan. So see, that's what I'm going off of. So that looks about good. So then I just roll like so, and then pinch the ends here, and then also pinch your ends here, and then take your loaf pan and just kind of fit it down. Make sure you can see, fit it down inside, and then I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of form it to how I want, so I make sure it's even, right like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other one done, and then I'm going to put more plastic wrap over top and let it rise again until it's about an inch above the rim. And about 10 minutes before, or when I think that it's starting to get to that point, I'll go ahead and preheat my oven to 450 degrees. Okay, I wish you could smell the smells that are going on in my kitchen right now. But here they are. They have risen, and I have my oven preheated to 450 degrees. Once I put these in, I'm going to reduce it down to 425, and they're going to go for a total of 40 to 45 minutes. At the 20-minute mark, you want to turn them just to make sure that they're cooking evenly. And now I just have a little egg wash right here. It's 1 egg beat with a teaspoon of water. And I'm just gonna brush all the top of my bread. Be very careful so that you don't deflate it. And this is another optional. You don't have to do this, but in my opinion, if you're gonna take the time to make your own bread, then take the time to make it look presentable. A presentable piece of bread. Now, if you're doing rustic, then, you know, it doesn't have to look pretty, but these are gonna be loaves. So, I'm all about presentation, like get out the good china, set the table. I just love doing it, even though it's definitely not necessary. I just love it. It just makes, I don't know, it gives me all the good feelings. Okay, and then last, I'm just gonna sprinkle some more caraway seed just on top. Give it a nice little crust, just like that. And then again, these are just gonna go uncovered. We're gonna turn our oven down to 425, and then 20 minutes, we'll turn them. So like, if they go in this way, then turn them that way. For the last 20 to 25 minutes, just until they're a nice golden brown. Alright, I will bring you back when these have rested. When they come out of the oven, I let them sit for about 15 minutes, and then I transfer them out of the baking dish and onto a wire rack and let them cool the rest of the way. If you want a good crumb, make sure they're completely cool before you start cutting into them. Alright guys, here is the finished product. Now they are still cooling, so I'm not going to be able to cut into them, but oh, they smell amazing. And they turned out perfect. I mean, I am very, very pleased. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time for another recipe or canning session, because I've actually have some canning that's going to be happening here soon. So until next time, guys, have a great day.